work with. And particularly here in the last couple of episodes, we've had a lot of kind of ongoing storylines that have been happening, particularly with three main individuals that I want to talk about today. The first individual that I would like to update everybody about is Peng Shuai. I think we talked about this episode we talked about Peng Shuai in episode 15. She is the one, and just to refresh everybody's memory in case you forgot, Peng Shuai was the Chinese female tennis player, former world number one in the world in doubles, who basically just sort of vanished. Sorry, let me backtrack. Basically posted this, basically accused a high-ranking Chinese government official of basically sexual assault and other kind of sexual misconduct things on the Chinese version of Facebook titled Weibo. And I believe the government official's name is Zhang Gaoli, if I'm getting that correct. So she did that. And then the post was taken down within 20 minutes. And essentially after that, no one really had seen her. And at the time that I'd made the video, that's the hashtag Where's Peng Shuai was trending. It was a hot topic. A lot of people were wondering where she was. So I'm here to update you that the worst fears that I had were that she could potentially be dead, are not true. She is very much alive, according to various video proof, media, all of that stuff. So the International Olympic Committee had a video call with her that lasted about a half an hour. And there have been a few pictures released by Chinese state media in the last couple of days and weeks here, showing Peng Shuai alive, doing various things. So the worst fears of her being dead have sort of subsided because there have been video as well as audio and visual proof that she is safe, which is good. But here's where the bad news comes in, because I feel like the narrative surrounding this Peng Shuai story is very controlled by the Chinese government. And what that means is that I'm looking at where these sources are coming from. I'm looking at how people are sort of feeling about Peng Shuai and who is portraying / giving the messages to the media across the world, to the WTA. It's the Chinese government. The Chinese government is controlling the narrative, and they are sending these messages across the world to make sure that the mainstream media throughout the world kind of stays out of it, because the mainstream media caught on to this whole thing when Peng Shuai was missing. And when she was found, the story sort of died with mainstream media. But we're not mainstream media here at the Changabi Show. I'm here to update you on what exactly is going on and what I believe are kind of some of the things to look out for here. But the narrative is very controlled by the government. And here's another kind of reasoning of proof that I have. Peng Shuai still has not been contacted by any of her friends or tennis players, as well as, let me rephrase that. That was really bad. Peng Shuai has not contacted any of her friends on the tour, any players in the WTA, which is the Women's Tennis Association, or any of the heads of the Women's Tennis Association. So basically anybody who's within her employment, within her athletic league, she still has not made any contact with them, face-to-face, online, whatever it is. There has not been any contact. In addition, there's still a lot of confusion amongst these groups of people, particularly with the WTA. And so actually what the WTA has gone on and done is they've said, okay, China, if you're not going to kind of provide us more information and be more transparent here with this Peng Shuai situation, what we're going to do is we're going to pull out of all of our events that we have in China. So the WTA has various tournaments in China throughout the year, and they basically have decided to pull out. And the ATP, which is the men's tour, decided to do the same thing. So no events in China as of indefinitely, based on the way this situation is trending. So let's see how it all goes. There's still a lot of confusion. And the weird part is, I mentioned at the top of this that the IOC kind of released this video call. The IOC had a video call with Peng Shuai, but they have not released an audio transcript of it. No video, no nothing. So it seems like the situation is a lot of a friend told me who told me that she's okay. So the situation is very much at a standstill. Information continues to come in, and there's a lot of like confusion amongst different media outlets as to like what truly the situation is, because it's seemingly very controlled by the mainstream media, which is or by seemingly controlled by the China. The narrative is seemingly controlled by the Chinese government, and the mainstream media is sort of let this story die and moved on to other things, as does the 24-hour news cycle here and throughout the world. I believe really that the International Olympic Committee, that is the one that has kind of had that initial contact with Peng Shuai, has handled the situation incredibly poorly. And it's really to the point where the American government, actually, there's been several things that have happened in the American government, where the American government has fully condemned the Chinese government. They've like gone through and passed a lot of resolutions recognizing the various human rights violations, particularly in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And this whole tension within China and this Peng Shuai situation is leading to a potential. Nothing is set in stone yet by the American athletic associations or the government in general. But this could potentially lead to a potential diplomatic boycott in the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing. That is crazy. And if that happens, that's the biggest like FU to a country that you possibly can have. And that's fully recognizing this Peng Shuai situation, which is crazy to begin with. So there's a lot going on here with this Peng Shuai situation. It continues to sort of evolve day by day, but I feel like the mainstream media has let this story sort of die, even though there is still a lot of layers that are happening constantly here. And this could be one of the pieces in the dominoes that falls and could potentially lead to the United States not participating in 2022 in the Olympics, as well as various other kind of political events and other various human rights violations going on in China. But we do know that Peng Shuai is alive. That is the one thing we can confirm. In other news, she is alive, so that is a good sign. That is fantastic. We're glad that she's healthy, seemingly, but we do not know how she's being treated by the Chinese government, and we do not know. She has not spoken to any media. She has not had an interview. She has not had contact with other people, so we don't really know how bad the situation is, and that is a scary thought, considering the foreign government of China that you're dealing with here, and what they've been known for in the past. So we got to wait and kind of see how this whole situation sort of starts to play out. But I think we'll get more information, and as that information comes down the pipeline, I will collect it and report it here on the show. Another sort of thing to transition, speaking of news and journalism, Chris Cuomo, we covered him on the last show, and I sort of talked about how he was fired and called him a scumbag and a bum, and both of which I still stand by. So at the time I recorded last, Chris Cuomo had been suspended indefinitely off CNN as they were sort of running their own private investigation into the matter. But I have realized now, and a couple of days later, it was released that Chris Cuomo had indeed been fired by CNN. He was fired a couple of days after the indefinite suspension came out, and he has officially been sacked from CNN. So he is not going to be on the news anytime soon. Cuomo Primetime is going to be replaced by some other programming, I presume. So that is a very interesting development that we see there with Chris Cuomo. In addition, he had a radio show on Sirius XM, and he is actually pulled out of that as well. So he's sort of going completely off the grid. No more media for Chris Cuomo, at least in the short term. We'll see kind of his long-term plans. But it's weird that I've actually seen like a lot of people in the journalism community, really defend Chris Cuomo and say like, we are so sorry that this happened to you. Like, you're such a great person and a great human being. We cannot wait to see what this next chapter sort of holds for you. That's scary, man, because this dude really he violated all professional procedures when it came to being a journalist. And the fact that these individuals are going out on the air and publicly saying like, are going out on social media and publicly like defending this guy is scary. If that's the state of journalism that we are in, I mean, I would figure that a lot of the journalism community would be very against Chris Cuomo at this point. You know, the fact that he used media contacts to try and erase stories and, you know, sort of violating that First Amendment, which I really thought that journalists were so passionately fighting for. Apparently there are a lot of journalists that are pro this guy, and maybe they're a part of that CNN community, right? And so they're sort of defending their friend and their colleague, someone that they've gotten to know very personally, all of that. So again, very, very interesting situation there. Chris Cuomo kind of off all media for now, at least in the short term. We'll see if he makes sort of any statements or decides to write a book, which is my prediction. I think Chris Cuomo is going to write a book, and I think he is going to make a lot of money off that book, and I think he's going to talk about some stuff. But that being said, Chris Cuomo will be off the air for now, and that is the update regarding that story. And then the last person I want to cover is someone I really talked about at length last week with the South Asian quality control episode. It's not Mindy Kaling, it's Hasan Minhaj. So I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but last week I sort of mentioned that I would love to see Hasan get into that director space, get into the film space, and really start creating sort of longer form TV shows as well as film content. I think he would, you know, make the space a lot better than it is right now, with Mindy Kaling sort of being in terms of the South Asian space, right? Like obviously in the wide scheme of directors, there's so many. There's a plethora of various film people who are very good at their jobs. Hasan Minhaj, though, I really wanted to see him give it a shot. And just as I said that, he listened to me because we're best friends. And a day after, he started his new production company, or it was announced that he has officially filed for his new production and created his new production company titled 186K Films. So congratulations on the new production company, Hasan. Hope everything goes well. And in addition, he has announced the creation of a new film. The script is written, and I believe they were shopping it around to various studios. It's going to be, and I think it was bought. I don't remember by who, but the film is titled For the Culture, and I guess we can really say that he is trying to take over Mindy Kaling once and for all. This is, you know, I understand Mindy Kaling is a woman, but Hasan Minhaj is wow. Like he's really making moves here in this department. The movie is titled For the Culture, as I said, and it's going to be about Bollywood dance teams here in college. So that's an interesting one. I had the idea, you know, I'm not going to say I gave Hasan Minhaj the idea, but like 3 years ago, I had the idea of like, what if you were to make a movie or a TV show about Bollywood dance teams? So now it's happening. Congratulations. And I think it would make a really good TV show series, but it is a film. So interesting to see what they do with it. Obviously, it's going to come out probably 2, 3, 4 years down the line. So something to look forward to in the future. Very exciting stuff here for Hasan Minhaj. Congratulations on behalf of the Changabi Show, the one-man show. And that's my update section for this week. So we talked Peng Shuai, Chris Cuomo, Hasan Minhaj, and I will let you know if any of the other sort of topics that I talk about throughout you know, the various things that I say, have any updates, anything goes on, we'll cover it on the show. So don't worry. I follow up. I'm not weird about, you know, just the mainstream. I'm not like the mainstream media and lets, you know, non-trending stuff die. So yeah. But anyway, let's get into the show that we have today.